Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this latest narration of the web series, The Nature of Predators. If you're new to the series, there is a playlist listed down below in the description. And as always, I hope that you enjoy. Chapter 117. Memory transcription subject, Slanek, Venlil Space Corps. Date, Standardized Human Time, January 14th, 2137. My paws were rooted to the floor as I cast a blank stare at Navarro's corpse. Footsteps pounded behind me, and without turning around, I knew it was Marcel racing back after hearing gunshots. An audible gasp came from my human, who skidded to a halt. He could see me standing in close range to the dead Kolshian, firearm in paw. The predator froze in shock before rushing up to me in panic. Marcel's hands latched onto my shoulders. "What did you do? The fuck have you done?" The redhead Terran had handed the first prisoner off to the team, but the discovery that he'd be unable to collect the second caution left him in an aggravated state. My friend couldn't restrain his emotions, baring his canine inches from my face. I could see his cheek muscles contorting in a grotesque ways, and his scar stretched in new patterns. I'd never seen such clear disgust in his pupils, not even during our predator's disease saga. Panic rose in my chest as I feared that Marcel would disown me for my action. He leaned back and shook his head in mute horror. My orders had been to watch the Kolshian prisoner for a few minutes. I knew I shouldn't have pulled the trigger. Admitting that I wanted Navarus dead for his cruel taunts wasn't an option, though I didn't regret killing the monster. Marcel can't leave me. He's my best friend. I can't have him thinking that I'm some predator-diseased killer. Genuine tears rolled down my furry cheeks, which caused the human to pause in reaction. I could see a twinge of sympathy cause his lips to curve downward. His natural response was to comfort me. The mental gears turned enough to realize that I could use this and paint the story which justified my deeds. If part of him believed that I was a weak, scared liability, then this decision could be played off as fear. Marcel had to believe that I didn't mean to kill the prisoner. "I'm sorry. He started trying to stand up, and I panicked." I put on my most despairing expression and recoiled from the corpse as though horrified. The stutter was easy to let slip through, since I was nervous about the human's rejection. My gun was on him, and then he moved towards me. It was reflex. The Kolshian was tied up with tape. He's still kneeling. I know, but I wasn't thinking. He moved his head suddenly, and I don't know what happened. Forgive me, please. I need you to... I chastised myself to drop the gun and flung myself at the predator in desperation. My arms wrapped around his thick body as I sobbed into his vest. The human felt warm and strong, even as I absorbed his shuddering inhales. Without seeing where his binocular gaze was pointed, I knew it was on my body. Marcel hesitated before a gloved hand gently kneaded my scruff. "It's okay. We'll deal with it. We'll figure this out and clean this up, huh? You made a mistake." Don't hate me, I pleaded. I just want to help you. I could never hate you, Slanek. Shooting an unarmed prisoner is a horrible thing to do, but I wasn't here to protect you. We shouldn't have trusted a Vendel to act as an independent soldier. It's not your fault, but you're clearly not past your instincts. Let me think. The outright accusation that I couldn't carry myself on the battlefield stung. I suppose it was better for Marcel to believe that I was a panicky animal rather than an enraged Vendel who played executioner. Listening to the way Navarro spoke about humans and goaded me on, the trigger pull was irresistible. My best friend would never understand because he didn't think killing should be enjoyable. Once, or if I talk my way out of this, the humans need to know about the kill work. Maybe that would make him just as angry, and then I can confess the truth. Marcel pulled away from our embrace and offered a taut smile. His reddish eyebrows soared up into his forehead as an idea occurred to him. He unclipped his holopad from his war belt before tapping away on his slim fingers. I looked at my friend with hopeful eyes, praying that he could sweep this under the rug. "What are you doing?" I croaked. The predator's gaze jerked up from the pad. "I'm searching through the video archives. It all happened like you said, so in case it comes back up, we should retrieve the footage that exonerates you. I'm downloading a clip for the last 10 minutes of your point of view." My heart sank into my chest. The helmet rested on my head like a rock as I recalled the tiny camera on its side. It had recorded the entirety of my interaction with the Kolshian, including how I gunned it down at point-blank range. Maybe there was a chance that I could access the server and delete the footage before Marcel finished downloading it. If it was for a command review, I doubted I had permissions to do so regardless. I scrambled over to his side, throwing my paws around his elbow. "What? Don't... Why would you look at that? I feel awful. I don't want to look at it again." "You don't have to review it, buddy. I can handle it. It won't take me that long." Marcel squinted at the download progress bar, which was counting down by impeding doom. "I doubt the UN or the Venlo Republic would have you prosecuted for an instinctual accident, knowing your stampede policy. Just in case, we should have something for legal defense." The holopad chimed, indicating that the download was finished. The human tapped the video, and I screeched in blind panic. My outstretched paws dove towards the holopad, which the predator snapped above his head on reflex. I jumped as high as my crooked legs would allow, trying to grab the object. However, Marcel was holding it well out of my reach, and my paws swatted empty air. The Terran officer's jawline tightened, and suspicion flashed in his hazel eyes. He used his back to shield the holopad from me, huddling over it with a singular focus. The audio must be going straight to his implant, but the Kolshian's dialogue didn't affect his feelings. He swiveled around with an unmistakable look of concentrated loathing. "You lied to me! You tried to make me feel sorry for you!" he roared. "No! Save it! I've heard enough of your spineless deflections." The human cleared the ground to the body with a handful of strides, anger charging his emotions. Marcel stood down, picking up the gun I'd discarded. His binocular eyes bore into mine as he stared straight at my horizontal pupils. He flung the firearm at my chest and curled his lip in disdain. I'd never seen him this callous and resentful, not even on Siddis. "Carry your murder weapon like a badge of honor. When we get out of it, I'm making sure you never touch one again," the predator hissed. I flicked my ears. "Listen, the Kolshians are curing humans." "We'll handle it. You don't need to worry about it anymore." I can help. I just made a mistake." "No, that was no mistake. It was calculated execution. You knew that it was wrong or you wouldn't have covered it up. God, can't believe I fucking trusted you. I thought we were brothers. I let you live in my house with my fiancée and my daughter. I don't know what's wrong with you, but you're unhinged." "You're being an ass." "I'm being an ass. Shut the fuck up and move out. You're going to help escort some civilians back to the shuttle, and then you're going to stay there till we return. If you don't like that, I'll be delighted to throw you in the brig myself." Marcel barely seemed to be corralling his temper, and he stomped off down the hallway. I trudged after the human with a defeated posture, tucked my tail between my legs. The dead Kolshian's eyes gave the appearance of watching me, as they were struck open for all eternity. The hurt that I felt was crushing after the way my best friend just treated me. "Did I just ruin our friendship? No, he's not being fair. Neveris fucking deserved to die, and I shouldn't have had to dance around Marcel's precious morals." "I knew you would act this way." I sprinted up to the human's side, and he quickened his pace to stay ahead of me. "You let everyone have mercy, from Sovereign to... Feck. You probably think that getting life in prison was enough for Kasum. You made me apologize to the same man that tormented us. What kind of shitty friend does that?" Marcel said nothing, but his finger tightened around the gun. His anger was so heavy that I could feel the tension infecting the air. "Answer me! Every time we go off to war, you have to rescue someone from the species that fucking harmed us," I continued. "Nulia, Vert, and Burla, and now these Kolshian assholes. You don't have the spine to stand up for yourself or enforce any form of punishment to anyone. It's your fault that I felt like I had to lie." The human skin was turning red from fury. "You executed a prisoner, and it's my fault. You're trying to spin this on me now." "The Kolshian tortured your civilians. It called it science. They drugged them so much that they puked, genetically modded them. I don't fucking regret it. I'd do it again. Neveris deserved to die. Shit, he got off easy." "Maybe he deserves to die, but that's not your decision to make. We can't question a dead guy. Either everyone gets rights or nobody does. His testimony could have swung more allies to our side. What you did is unacceptable, and I don't even know who the feck you are anymore." "Neither do I. You humans flipped on my predator switch, and I can't undo that. You did this. All I think about anymore is war and death." Marcel clammed up once more, plodding along with brooding footsteps. His eyes darted towards me for a brief moment, and I could see that our quarrel was distracting him. He reached the central area of the medbay, where UN soldiers were gathering. My posture was stiff, as I worried that my friend would declare my actions to the first commander he saw. However, the vegetarian seemed intent on getting out of here before reporting me. Sickly humans with glassy eyes were being tended to by medics. Their gaunt frames suggested that they'd been unnerved for the duration of their stay. The Gaussians either didn't know or didn't care about the predator's caloric needs. Doser rescues observed the day's predators with concern, and Terran soldiers were determining how to move the rodents. Speed was key to safety, and the galaxy's most diminutive race wasn't covering ground quickly.
It seems like it was very easy to get through the medical lab. I expected more resistance in this area, but all the Gaussians here are unarmed.
Perhaps that realization jinxed us. The medbay compartment doors slammed shut, as they would in a depressurization. I could hear the air conditioning unit kick on as a hearty gust of ventilation poured down the shaft. Human soldiers rushed to the compartment doors, trying to pry them open. Were the Gaussians going to poison us? The enemy had waited until multiple units added in the civilians before locking us in here. The gases that were filtering in felt noxious, but the predators had made quick work of busting out. They bypassed the locking mechanism through brute force, using charges to blast out the door. I grabbed Marcel's wrist and guided the coughing redhead out of the hallway. He dropped to his knees, gasping in the fresh air. "What was that?" my friend choked. "Fucking hell." Our unit commander staggered out of the medbay and exchanged a few words with our medics. "Listen up! Those of you with masks, get back in there and look for anybody left in the gas. Our smaller friends won't survive long. Get going! The rest of you post security. They might try hit us while we're reading. I want the team to find where the gas came from ASAP. Break!" I helped my redhead predator up, and he pushed himself away from me. The young officer volunteered his boarding party for the search without hesitation. The disoriented Marcel followed the rest of his team, still shaking off the unknown substance he'd inhaled. The soldiers had located a map of the ship's layout and got a rescued doser to read it out to them. We navigated through the ship tunnels. I kept myself alert for more traps. The Terrans busted down the door to the supply closet, not even checking if it was locked or not. There was evidence the Gaussians had been present recently, but they cleared out in a hurry after their stunt. We checked the supply air ductwork, which had a canister plugged into it. The Predator's senior leader ran a visual translator over the items left in the duct, and the complexion diminished from his face. "Chief, is everything all right?" I asked. The human senior's eyes turned towards me. "It seems the Gaussians fed us a sleeping gas, but we weren't exposed long enough for it to do anything other than make us woozy. However, son, they laced it with something else too. Everyone, remain calm. I'm going to inform command that we need a quarantine for all humans on the station." Marcel's eyes widened. "Why, Chief? Are we in danger?" "Sir, these empty vials say here, the cure. There's only one thing that can mean in their eyes. I believe that we got a dose on their anti-carnival dust, but by air transmission. We have to assume the worst, sir. We're all vegetarians now, by threat of death. Let's drum up a diet plans by the end of the day. Need green rations shipped to us pronto. You're the expert." Even among seasoned Terran soldiers, that admission was enough to spark panic chattering. While the senior leader phoned it in to command, I studied Marcel with worried eyes. No matter what he thought about me, I wanted only the best for him. My human didn't deserve to have genetic modifications forced upon him, though he was vegetarian. That should be a choice for him to make of his own volition. There could also be additional consequences, and I wasn't sure if it was transmittable to others of his kind.
Does this mean that the Kolshian Commonwealth has decided to try to cure the primates rather than eradicate them?
It wasn't clear if whatever that was tailored to the humans during these experiments worked on me, but I gotten the pathogen into my lungs as well. The Battle of Milu was raging on outside these walls, and the Kolshians had sprung a dastardly trap on the Terrans here, who wandered in to rescue innocents. We needed to relay a warning to other UN forces retaking ground encampments to beware of potential biohazards. Containing the exposure to just us was crucial. I wish that I could have saved myself from breathing that in. All I could hope now was that the cure wouldn't have any unexpected effects on the humans exposed to it here. Unfortunately, one possible avenue for reversal was reduced to brain matter in my fur. End of chapter. I would quickly like to thank our Tier 5 patrons, Dragzoon W.R.E, Quantum Wednesday, Ambrose Cattell, Lord Ashrakal, Bushmaster 177, Casper Arnholtz, Cam Maxwell, and Arcadian. Thank you very much.